What does rope drop and early entry look like at Animal Kingdom? Well, sometimes it looks like this. It's still dark out, you're half awake, and you can't tell if this is rope drop or park close. But with the right plan, early entry can help you knock out some big rides before most guests can even make it through the gates. Let's take a look at how my morning played out and how you can make the most of yours. So I'm here bright and early to show you what rope drop and early entry for resort guests is all about. Now, this was filmed the week of daylight savings time change, so that's one of the reasons why it's pitch black out right now. So I had my own vehicle here on property, so I drove to the park. Now, the parking lot opens an hour before early entry, so with early entry today starting at 7:30, that means the parking lot opened at 6:30, and that's exactly when I arrived. Now, what you don't see off camera here is I'm actually munching on a donut while power walking through the parking lot. My awesome wife had a breakfast box delivered to our resort, so I had some belly fuel for this very early morning, and it was awesome. Now, I can't say the company name since it was a third-party service, but if you Google around, there are a few different places that'll do this. Definitely a solid move if you're planning a pre-sunrise park day. Security was a breeze. I walked right through with no wait at all. Although I always wonder if I'll get stopped. It's a 50-50 toss-up when you're carrying a bag full of camera equipment and spare batteries, but no issues this time. It was the main entrance where things started to stack up. Even though I drove and got here right when the parking lot opened, the resort buses had already begun dropping off guests. So you could definitely tell the rope drop crowd had arrived. Guests were held at the entrance until cast members began scanning everyone in right around 7 o'clock, and they scan everyone at this point, resort guests and non-resort guests alike. The separation for early entry doesn't happen until you're actually inside the park. But after you're scanned in, everyone's held right here inside the Oasis section of the park. Now, it's still dark out at this point, and most people are just quietly waiting for cast members to give the go-ahead. Now, as I mentioned, this is where they separate guests from everyone else. If you're not staying at a Disney resort, you'll be held off to the right and have to wait until regular park open. Resort guests are funneled off to the left, where they'll scan your magic band or room key one more time to confirm early entry access. Now, once you're through that, you're free to head into the park, and most people either go to Pandora or Asia. And this is the point where having a plan really starts to matter. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to rope drop, but if you want to make the most out of early entry, it helps to know your priorities ahead of time. My plan for this day was to knock out as many attractions as possible in the morning and then roll out of Animal Kingdom by early afternoon so I could hop over to another park later on in the day. With that in mind, I had already purchased a Lightning Lane single pass for Flight of Passage, and my time slot for that was about 8:15. And I had a regular Lightning Lane selection for Navi River Journey stacked on top of that right after that. Now, I know a lot of people rope drop Flight of Passage, and for good reason. That line builds fast and stays long through most of the day. But I knew I had Pandora covered, so instead, I headed toward Asia to grab a dawn ride on Expedition Everest. Once you reach the Asia section, you'll be held here until exactly 7:30. That's the official start time for early entry, or at least that's the start time for today. Disney uses these different holding zones as a form of crowd control. So instead of everyone piling up at the front gate, they split guests up based on which direction you're heading, Pandora or Asia, so it's a lot more organized once the day officially kicks off. So we were held and waited here until the clock hit 7:30, ready to start the day with Everest. And at 7:30 on the dot, the cast members led us through and it was off to the races. Everest is the only thing open in Asia during early entry, so while not everyone heads this way, those of us who did were all power walking with a purpose. There was pretty much no line when I got there. I walked straight through the queue. The only reason I waited at all is because when I got to the end of the queue, I asked to sit in the front row, so I had to wait for the next train. And let me tell you, that was one of my best decisions this morning, because it gave me one of the most unique Disney experiences I've ever had, a pre-dawn ride on Everest, front row, with an absolutely stunning sky just starting to light up. No crowds, no sun out yet, just me, the mountain, and an absolutely beautiful view. I really think Expedition Everest is one of the perfect rope drop rides. It's thrilling, intense, and there's no better way to wake up than racing through the Himalayas before most people have even had their coffee. If I'd wanted to, I could have easily gone right back on and ridden it again with no wait. That's the magic of hitting early entry with a solid plan. Now it's time to move on to our next stop during early entry, and I know I'm going to get some mixed comments on this. And look, I would never recommend using early entry time on a sit-down show. That's just not really how you maximize a rope drop morning. But, once again, this wasn't a normal weekend. This also happened to be the finale weekend for It's Tough to Be a Bug. And all week long, I've been keeping an eye on wait times, and I watch them keep creeping up, so they were higher than usual later in the day for the show. So knowing that, and also knowing Kilimanjaro Safaris doesn't open until official park open time, and it wasn't quite time for me to head to Pandora yet, going to It's Tough to Be a Bug actually made sense. Plus, I figured this might be my last chance to see it, so knocking it out now while the theater was still pretty empty ended up working out perfectly. And in the effort to keep this video shorter, I'm not going to show you the full It's Tough to Be a Bug show, but if you're already starting to miss it, I do have full footage of that show right here on the channel. Check that out. But once leaving that show, there wasn't much time left in early entry at this point, so I decided to start making my way toward Pandora to start using my lightning lanes. Now, before we close out, I do want to leave you with a few key points to keep in mind if you're planning to take advantage of early entry and rope drop at Animal Kingdom. First, have a plan. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but know what direction you're heading once the rope drops. Wandering without a plan is the quickest way to waste that precious early time. Second, arrive early. Whether you're driving yourself or taking a resort bus, you want to be here as close to parking lot or bus drop-off time as possible. Being near the front of the crowd really does actually make a difference. Third, know what's actually open. Not every attraction runs during early entry. For example, I mentioned before, Kilimanjaro Safaris doesn't open until regular park hours. I did stop a couple when we were sitting at security. That was their rope drop plan. This ties back to number one, having a plan. Know what's open so that you can make a good plan. And this leads into the last one, the fifth one, stay flexible. Even with the best plan, things can shift. Crowds, weather, or timing just might change your path a little, and that's totally fine. Be flexible, go with the flow a little more. Now, if you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more Disney tips, walkthrough, and planning content. As always, I'm Dave from the Sorcerer's Vault. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you real soon.